going? What are you drinking tonight? Let's keep 'em flowing. Where do you come from? Where are you going? What are you feeling tonight? And what are you showing? Where do you come from? 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 Where you going? What are you drinking tonight? Let's keep 'em flowing.
Hey, and we are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. We are the Super PlayStation Bros coming at you on September 18th. We got the news this week. There's a lot happening. It looks a little bit different, but we're rolling with it, and we're going to have some fun today. How are you doing today, Dorgon?
I'm doing well, man. I've not seen this. This is all work that you've been doing in the background. So this whole setup that we've got going on around us over here, all around, like this is looking cool, man. I'm impressed, dude. I'm impressed. You've done good work here.
I cleaned up a little bit, moved some things around and put a shelf over here, hanging out, but we're having a good time. I see some edits automatically I need to make, so, but thank you. But this is what it is. It's Super PlayStation Pros. We're getting into the PlayStation news of the week, but before we get into that, I like to ask, of course, what have you been gaming on this week? And we see chat. I want to give a shout out to Pika Pika. What's going on? Thanks for stopping on by. Cowboy Epic Entertainment, yes, always ready for the PlayStation news. And we got SPG. Hopefully you're doing well. Oh, Bluebees. Okay, so Bluebees is a very specific reference to the Avatar game.
Right, okay. Well,
yes.
State of Play is on the slate today. Avatar was part of that. I'm sure we'll be talking.
Yeah. Good morning, Lo-Fi. Good morning. Thanks for hanging out. But yes, what have you been gaming on this week, Dorgon? What's been going on?
I have been diving into the world of remote play this past week. So I've been creating a video, and part of that has been playing remote play on a bunch of different devices. And I've broken out my PlayStation 3 and my PlayStation 4 to be able to remote play to the Vita. I've had my Backbone on the go, so I've been using this to play on a bunch of different phones, not just mine, but a couple that I've managed to get hold of otherwise. And I've been playing everything from Returnal to Hades, from Spiderman Remastered to God of War Ragnarok. I've been playing a lot of exceptional games on the go, out in the garden, in the woods, over the way. I've been having a great time just playing all sorts of stuff. And again, something we're probably going to talk about in a bit more depth a little later. Something that came out the back of that State of Play. Ghost Rider 2 put out a demo over the weekend on the PlayStation Store. I loved the first Ghost Rider game. I thought it was a fantastically difficult, different and interesting way of approaching the roguelike genre. And I played the demo for number 2 and absolutely adored it. But I've been all over the show. There's not been anything specific I've been playing. I know you've been a bit more specific than I. What have you been up to?
Yeah, absolutely. What up, Rouster? He's been playing Starfield and Diablo 4. I wonder what level you're at, Rouster, as we're coming to, I think, a month away from the end of the season. Let us know in chat what level. And
quick.
Yeah, he must be I think he's a sorcerer. I can't remember what he is this season. I want to say sorcerer or necro. Work now. Have a good stream. Have a good day at work, Rouster. Thanks for stopping in.
Always a pleasure, Rouster. Take care, bud.
Well, there was a huge sale on PS Plus, and Forspoken was 50% off, and I was
Wow. Okay.
always super interested in jumping into that game. Not only that, but I had a bunch of PlayStation points saved up from the
From
beginning
stars.
of,
Yeah.
yeah, I but I have a lot of PlayStation points because I was able to get $50 off. So Forspoken cost
Whoa.
me, yeah, 50 Canadian dollars. Okay, so you got to
Hey,
take
it's
that
still
with a grain
50
of salt.
bucks, man. It's not to be
Yeah.
sniffed at.
Yeah, 6,250 points gets me
Nice.
25 Canadian dollars. So I was able to pick up the game on the cheap, and I take advantage of my PS Plus membership, get a little bit more value there. And I've absolutely been enjoying it. It's Squids quoted it as Harry Potter DLC. It's absolutely, I feel like this is adult Harry Potter. You're swearing, you have an attitude to the world. You're like, F this, F that. This is all like ish. Like, I really enjoy the tone of the character, the magic spells. They replicate like weapons. So
Yeah.
your first spells are kind of like a machine gun, a shotgun, and a shield, which is really cool. You can manipulate those. They got 3 levels, 3 transformations to each spell. Plus, you can upgrade it all. There's so much in the open world. Bosses just hanging around, sitting there. Castles and territories to take over, and dungeons to dive deep into, which all have their own bosses at the end. Um, I crank up the difficulty and it becomes a Souls-like magic game. It's really been a cool experience. My favorite part is the traversal, having that speed,
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
and the dodge is really, really awesome. Forspoken is still my favorite game of 2023. The main character has so much personality. You'll never forget her, Freya. I can think of her name right now, so I hear what you're saying. Freya Holland. She is a
I
character.
picked it up on the cheap as well. I got it for, I think it was like 75% off. I spent £20 on it here in the UK. It's normally a
Sweet.
£65 game. And for 20 quid, it's a Bonza title. It's not a £65 title, but I'm judging it on what I paid for it, and I've more than got the 20 quid's worth out of it. It's a really fun game for that much.
It,
Especially you, how much you got
yeah,
off
cowboy shit.
it.
Yeah, I absolutely am happy with this for sure. And like Cowboy says, the world is huge, absolutely. Not only that, it's weather dependent, so you can have like a storm roll in and everything changes and these nightmare creatures come at you. The variety of ad types, the resistances to magic, the rewarding for switching up combos, mixing and matching your support magic with your attack. It's really in depth and super well done. I honestly believe that Square Enix would have been more successful if they released it everywhere. But I understand people want their exclusive titles. I just wish PlayStation community would have supported it a bit more. It's really a great title, and I think it should be higher in the sales for sure.
I understand both sides of it. It is not a pinnacle experience. It's not as good as quite a lot of games that have been out this year. Even other ones from Square Enix have absolutely smashed it out the water with what they've delivered this year. But it's a good, fun title, and people are enjoying it and having fun with it, and that's all video gaming is meant to be about. And I hope they do see it as a bit of a success, at least as a formula, maybe not as a continuation. It might not need a continuation. Not everything needs to have more of it. Sometimes they can be finite and be perfect. So yeah, I do hope they take that that ethos, that formula, and move forward with it, because that freedom of movement, as you said, that parkour in the open world and the traversal is just so free flowing and fun. And I haven't really felt that way since 2018's Marvel Spider-Man. Like, there hasn't been another game that's giving you that level of freedom of movement. So yeah,
Yeah,
I totally get on board with that one.
and the speed. I need the speed. Now, I
Yes.
will say Sonic Frontiers. Sonic Frontiers gave you that open world speed. But it was an empty-ish world, I will say. This world is filled with things.
Or it didn't
But
load in and you fell through it. Yeah.
yeah. Let's get into some news going on. I want to start off soft with a little story that hits close to home. Ray and Mr. Reaver the Beaver, thank you for stopping on in. Let's check out what's happening with a PlayStation exclusive. Look at that in the little box there. This is something I brought up to Doragon 2 minutes before the show started because it flipped in my head. So,
I'm probably more prepared than this.
This is how a 13-year-old Canadian tech prodigy is taking the video game industry by storm. So he created this game and he was displaying it at some sort of festival in White Rock, BC. And there was a Sony executive who came by and was extremely entertained by it. And so much so that he's Astrolander. It's called Astrolander. Sony is taking this on as an exclusive game for the PlayStation. So it's a simple little game where you avoid these ducks and with these laser beams. You could see how it's kind of like a small little indie title, but from a 13-year-old kid, absolutely pretty impressive.
See a lot of hours getting put into a game like that. That's like the perfect sort of stream game. It gives me vibes of like Only Up and games along those horizons, over the mountain and such like that. Like these are the sort of games, it's trial and error. You go and you go and you go until you get it right, and if you fail, it hurts you, sort of thing. It looks very much like that, and for a 13-year-old kid to be approached by a Sony PlayStation exec to say, do you want to put your game exclusively on PlayStation? Like, even if they take that 30% cut of everything, even if they put it on PlayStation Plus Extra at launch, that's a huge stepping stone for that kid. That's a gateway into the industry for a professional career. So massive kudos 100%. To that kid. He's done phenomenal work, and I hope it is a success story for him. I really do.
Astrolander coming exclusively to PlayStation 5. So it's a PS, not only is it's a PS5 exclusive. This kid is, very cool to see. An exclusive coming out from a Canadian. Shout out to that homegrown, that homegrown talent. That homegrown talent. Well, now that we've covered that, let's jump into the meat of what happened this week. There was... Oops. There we go. I made you disappear by accident. My bad. This is fine. What... let me turn down the volume there a bit. This is what happened last week. We got the state of play. We got warned about a day beforehand that this was coming.
What did I tell you? What did I tell you? They will not give us any form of proper warning. They will just say, oh, state of play, XYZ time. I didn't expect it to be the day before. I expected it to be like 2-3 days. But yeah, I said last week, they will give us no warning and we'll just get a state of play. And lo and behold, it happened.
And I was absolutely shocked. We got to see basically more or less what we've already seen before. I don't know if we saw any new things. Perhaps maybe was the Roblox announcement new?
Roblox was announced in press prior. We hadn't had any form of video or anything for it. So with YouTube being like the biggest media outlet in the world, that obviously gave it a lot more visibility. I think this that is on screen currently, Baby Steps. I think that is the only fully new announcement that was in that showcase. But they told us beforehand that was going to be the situation. We weren't going to get a bunch of new games. There wasn't going to be a bunch from PlayStation Studios. It was primarily focused on third-party partnerships and new games that we've already heard about with updates. And a lot of those updates were release dates, which is huge. So I think it really delivered on what it promised, and I was actually very happy with it. I wasn't blown away. It wasn't socks off out of the park. But huge 6 over deep cover or something. It was a really solid, really decent state of play.
I did enjoy the deep dive into Helldivers. This was entertaining to see. It kind of pushes what gaming is traditionally, with, you know, having to obviously control your legs only through a
Yes.
traverse a world, like this guy on a skateboard, and then I think he crashes. Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing. Again, it's a physics puzzler type game. So
Yeah,
it's that same
physics
sort
puzzle.
of ethos as we said about Only Up, Over the Mountain and Co. I think there's going to be a lot of traction for that game when it's in players' hands. I don't think watching it as we've done here is going to give it any form of uplift or anything, because it just does not look good to watch. But I imagine when it's being streamed, when you're watching someone play it, or you're in the same room as someone playing it, and you're shouting at them because they're doing things wrong, but they're doing the best they can because of the physics puzzler type mode of it, I think it could have a lot of legs. Pun not intended. But yeah, I think it could be a bit of a sleeper hit, this one.
Now that was an interesting state of play drop there. They showed Roblox coming out to PS4, so I assume when people try to access it on PS5, you'll only be able to download a PS4 version of Roblox.
Yeah. Roblox is one of those games, it's a mobile game primarily. It came out on iOS and Android long before it came out on Steam or any other platform, as far as I believe. And the fact that it runs flawlessly at 120 hertz on the likes of iPhones and Samsung Galaxies and Xiaomi Mi Mixes and so on and so forth it's quite a positive thing. I don't think it being a PlayStation 4 release is going to hold it back in any way. This seems to be running at a smooth 60 frames per second, even for PS4, which just means it's not that graphically intense. And I've just realized I'm looking at Ghostbusters instead, but well. It still looked really smooth, Roblox did, when we saw that trailer. I don't think the PS4 release is going to be any sort of problems with it. If they want to do a PS5 upgrade with ray tracing and such in the future, they can do that. But Roblox is Roblox. It's about the community. It's about building games that other people come in and play. It's very similar to Dreams in that regard, but because it's going to be cross-platform, you've got a much bigger community that can come in, build stuff, and you can then go and play.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with all of that. And plus ray tracing, I know when they introduced it into Minecraft, it was all kind of weird. It's hard to ray trace those games, those blocky, pixelated games, yeah. So I understand the move there, and I'm sure it'll provide a lot of support. I think it's in a great position to be released before the PlayStation Portable. That way, the Portal, so that way you can have that accessibility. Oh, here's Roblox to the kids, because that's going to be a huge reason why mobile gaming even exists.
Yeet. Yeah. Here you go, have my phone, have my tablet, just play, give me 5 minutes of a break. Yeah, like knowing a lot of parents and a lot of people who've come into parenting roles in relationships and such, that is one of the big reasons that they take more premium devices so that they can take a beating. So, you know, having it on a home console where the only thing taking the beating is the controller, it's probably going to be a lot better for people.
The new VR titles or experiences that they were advertising there that we went by: Ghostbusters, fully co-op game where you're taking down these creatures. We got lots of Resident Evil. I mean, yeah, they're great choice for the IP. I'm sure that kind of game feels good, controlling the beam. Don't cross the beams. Like, that stuff will all come into play. Everybody loves living that out. It's a great shout out. What up, Ron Slusher and FCat stopping in here. Hope you're doing well. And of course, you can wear a diaper and baby steps. How else are you supposed to go? I don't think they'll just make you go like a horse.
Happy, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to Ghostbusters. I think that's going to be a great experience on PSVR 2. I am not a big Resident Evil fan, mainly because they bored me back in the day. It's not that they were scary or anything, but back on my original releases on PlayStation 1, 2, and co., I just got bored with them. I knew what was coming. There was no jump scares or anything for me, and they weren't as difficult back then as they are now. They are the sort of game I feel I probably should return to at some point and give another go. But if I'm doing that, I'm not going to do it in VR first. I don't think. I think I'll do it, with some light around me to start with.
Yeah, strapped into that world. The knife fighting was cool, how we kind of switched the knife from up to down. I don't know how you would do that with your controller without dropping it. Good luck.
You say
but
that,
maybe that's
I
what they want.
dropped my controller the other day. So yeah, it's definitely
No!
possible. You've got a leash. It's attached to your wrist, similar to the Switch, similar to the Wii. So
Yes.
it's not going through anything. If you drop it, you can easily pick it back up. But middle of Beat Saber, I was just going
Okay.
away and then just, here. And then you're trying to find it, but you're realizing that you're still looking at it in the game world. So I've just got this lightsaber spinning round on my wrist sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Trying to catch that without being able to see the actual thing is quite difficult.
I can see that. That's got to be tough. But,
Fun,
yeah, and
but
then your
difficult,
arm
yeah.
is like, why is there a laser? The
I
VR
failed
world.
that level, you may know.
Here is
Yeah,
the
The
Avatar.
bluebies.
The Bluebies, the aforementioned Bluebies. This one, it gives me Far Cry vibes, but the more I look at it, it kind of feels different, more open world. Obviously, there's that traversal aspect to it, which seems quick. But I don't get all this customization and clothing that they show when you never see your character. But yeah, I
it's
assume...
a bit weird.
I assume Avatar people said we want Far Cry, but with Avatar, give that to us, Ubisoft. We'll pay this much.
I don't know. I received a survey from Ubisoft over the course of the weekend asking about what you want from Far Cry, and it was a multiple choice when you couldn't free type anything. And one of the responses on every question was, "It's too samey. That there's no innovation or anything." And it's like, yeah, that has been Far Cry since number 3. 3 was the innovative one, and then they just made 3 again and again and again and again and again and again. If all they're doing is putting an Avatar skin on Far Cry 3 with this one, now don't get me wrong, it looks a lot better in this gameplay than it did when it was shown off much earlier in the year. It looks a lot better now. But it still just looked like Far Cry, and Far Cry has been boring for quite a while at the moment. So if all we're doing is having more Far Cry just with blue people this time, I don't think it's going to be that big a success, even with the IP being attached to it.
It's a repackaging instead of an innovation. I think that's what we're seeing with that game. And
Anything from
the
Ubisoft, to be
innovation
fair, yeah.
aspect they're playing on, yeah, is just the IP of Avatar. But what did you think of, because we'll get into Ghost Runners later, the release of all the elemental PlayStation colors? I assume this is just color branding.
It's just colors. It's new plates, new dual senses with new colors on them, so that people can personalize their consoles a little bit more. The red and the blue
Right.
are really nice shades of red and blue. I'm quite liking them. The blue specifically is such a deep, rich blue, but that silver chrome. Oh my! If that is actually bright and shiny, like a chrome tailplate and such. I think you guys call them tailplates or something. But if that's actually chromed, oh my days, I am in for that. I might get rid of the Spiderman plates for a chrome plate because it just looks so damn good.
What's going on, David Wilson and Cozy Mountain Gaming? Avatar was hyped big for Stadia. Aw, yeah, it was hyped big for Stadia. You know, we're coming up close to the year of
Stadia,
Stadias.
to be fair.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, it's a little sad. But what I think got me off track, Ron Slusher. Mission accomplished. I don't know what I was saying now. I just feel bad about the death. Look at Helldivers. All right, Helldivers is going to be a wicked experience. February 8th. I
Want to know
can't
what
wait.
I loved about this most?
What? Yeah,
The fact
tell
it was
me.
a terrible 2013 E3 demo where they were playing terribly, talking terribly, telling you exactly what they're doing badly. I loved that it was an awful demo. I have missed these.
Helldiver?
Everything's been too polished recently. Yeah, this demo was awful. It was great. I loved it. It really made me want to play the game. It felt like that original Destiny demo where they're like, oh, look, he's coming in from a dropship. And they're like, yeah, that's not happening in the final game. And you don't talk to people like that or see them drop in like that and what have you. It made me feel like that. But like that turned out to be one of my favorite games of all time. So yeah, I'm in for Helldivers because of the terrible demo that we got during the state of play. It was ace.
We didn't get a demo for this game though. Not Helldivers 2, right?
Not a play with us demo. The guys on screen playing the demo that
Ah.
they showed off during the state of play. It felt like the ones you used to get on stage at E3, where you had
Yeah.
a developer supposedly playing it and talking to play the game, but it's obviously fully scripted
Right.
and pre-recorded.
Yeah. Yeah.
It felt like that, and it's been a long time since we've had that sort of input in the gaming industry, and I loved it. Like I loved
I
the
see.
terribleness of it.
Well, I think it looks like Starship Troopers with your friends, all these
Yeah.
big bugs. I'm a little worried about variety because all I see is them taking out these giant spiders, but I'm sure the world will be filled and rich with tons of stuff to do. They're putting a lot of resources behind Helldivers. It'll be what the first party studio launch we get after Spider-Man.
I think so, yeah. Thus far, it's the one with the earliest release date after Spider-Man. And I love the first one. I do believe the first one's available on PS Plus if you have hold of that.
What?
And
Is
it's
it?
just,
I gotta try this.
I think so. Don't quote me on that. I just think it is. I remember seeing it on there. Whether I've seen it recently or whether that was before the revamp in 2022, I can't remember. But I have seen it on PS Plus, and it's hilarious good fun, that original one. And this looks like more hilarious good fun, and most of that's going to come from playing with your buddies and shooting your friend in the arse.
Absolutely. I look forward to it. It's great to have those multiplayer experiences from Sony when everyone's saying there's no Sony multiplayer experiences. There's no Sony experiences, so bring it on. I want to see the whole year planned out. I'd like to hear about the game we're going to get in May, the game we're going to get in October, and then a game we're going to get in Christmas time. Something like, let's roll out this 4 games a year. Back to that. I'd like to see that sort of come to fruition here. But they showed us more of Spider-Man, which was awesome.
They did. There was then that deep dive drop later in the week. They had a bunch of content creators and press.
Yeah.
So we're probably going to go into that a little bit more detail afterwards. But this suddenly got me hyped. I've not been hyped for Spider-Man. Like, I love the original one. Spider-Man Remastered is one of the best Spider-Man stories ever told in any media ever. It's better than most of the comics. It's definitely better than the crap that they put out in the MCU. It's better than Andrew, who is my favorite live-action Spider-Man. It's better than Tobey, who is most people's favorite live-action Spidey. That first game was phenomenal. And then when they followed that up with Miles, not only was that the right sort of size experience to introduce you to the PlayStation 5, it felt the perfect size experience for the story that was being told. It didn't need to be any bigger. It didn't need to be any smaller. It was spot on. And I absolutely loved that. I wept uncontrollably at the end of that narrative. I loved it completely. Insomniac have understood what makes a great Spider-Man story, and not just a great Peter Parker Spider-Man story, but a great Miles Morales Spider-Man story. And so for me, I am really into this universe. Because we hadn't heard much until last week, my hype levels were quite low, even though I knew it was going to be a great game and most likely a Game of the Year contender. but then seeing the updates and the changes that they have made to it during the state of play, seeing this gameplay, the speed of fast travel, the size of the map, the beauty of the world, the fact that ray tracing always appeared to be on, no matter how fluid the gameplay and frame rates were, it blew me away all over again. It felt like 2018 for me, and I am getting ultra hyped for Spider-Man 2 on PlayStation 5 now. I'm all in on this. This is my next big game.
This that's hard to follow. It's hard to follow. So I'll say what up to chat. Nerds World Gaming. What's going on? Dorgon, I had the exact same feeling. It reminded me exactly what you're talking about. The same thing with Anthem. Yes,
Yeah,
Cowboy, that sort of parody review. Now with PS5 quick travel, you can beat Spider-Man 2 in 8 hours. I doubt that, but we will see. And plus, who would want to fast travel when you could swing from buildings? That's the thing.
You've got swinging, you've got gliding. The gliding is from the deep dives that they had later in the week. It's apparently not just a case of press a button and glide. It's actually quite difficult to achieve. So I am looking forward to that. Like, it feels like traversal has been stepped up, and it's not just a case of press a button and it happens, which I love. You've got to be engaged in it. I'm loving the sounds of that.
Yep. And then one thing they did do on top of hyping up the game is they pushed, you know, the pre-order bonus, get all of these costumes or suits on the deluxe version beforehand. Is it, or is it just with pre-order you get the 10 extra suits?
I
One of
think
the
it's
options.
with that edition. From everything I've seen, it's either the digital deluxe or collector's edition, whichever one you're getting. You will get those 10 additional suits. I know I'm getting it in the Super Duper Collector's Edition that comes with its 19 inches of venom.
19. Yeah.
So I'm getting it in that copy. I know it's in the digital deluxe. I believe it's in the physical deluxe as well. I think it's only base game you don't get that. But if the last one's anything to go by, in 6 months, base game players will have all of those suits as well.
Unfortunately, it's just so like they did such a great job in the boardroom by securing Spider-Man. Sony knew back in the day they had Spider-Man in their back pocket forever, and now seeing it come out like this is really something awesome. They've done something great with the Marvel IP to really draw in that mass audience. I wonder how many people just have a PS5 specifically for this game.
I know of 5 people who have it specifically for Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, it's just such a great move. It's such a great move and a console mover. So they really hit the nail on the head there with that one.
Yeah,
give props to them for that.
Wait 3 to 5 years, you can play it on PC anyway.
Yes. Or you could play the first Spider-Man right now, and I think you can play Miles Morales on Steam as well. So that was 3 years. So he got the lower end of that 3 to 5 year wait. Well, continuing on with the state of play, we had some turn-based anime, Japanese style games. These are more of a different flavor than I am used to, but a lot of people
Tales
obviously
is a huge series. So Tales of Arise getting DLC is
really
massive. That series is absolutely monstrous. So many people play it. It's unbelievable. It's not my personal cup of tea, but I know it is incredibly popular, and I know they've been crying out for more. So even just that taste, even just DLC whilst waiting for the next Tales of game, that's a good thing for those players. Honkai Star Rail has been doing absolute work on mobile and Steam, so it's coming to consoles on PlayStation 5 as well.
massive.
It's going to do as well as its sister franchise, Genshin Impact. It's going to do really well. It's got the sort of oomph behind it. It's another gacha type game, but it comes with a good story, and it's a bit of an auto battler, so you can set your battles going and go and make a cup of tea or coffee sort of thing.
Oh, wow. But I know everybody has this on their calendar, and that is Foam Party's open beta. That's right.
I'm looking forward to this,
Splatoon is no longer just for the Switch. It's coming to PlayStation 5 in the form of Foam Party. I want it.
It is essentially Splatoon,
It's adult.
as you say. But
adult Splatoon.
it looks fun. I'm all
Yeah.
for fun. I loved Knockout City. It was one of my all-time favorite free-to-play games. And this is giving me that same
Hey,
sort
Crow.
of not too serious, but great fun vibes. And I'm all for more games that are not too serious, but great fun. And Foam Stars really looks like it's going to be. So yeah, bring it on. Let's get in that open beta. Let's have some fun together, or apart, or whatever the case may be, and see what comes of it. I think it's going to be great. I'm looking forward to it. I just want stupid fun.
September 29th.
Not too many days away. And
First
we can all
adult
go...
game for PlayStation.
Oh, there's always one, and it's always the
Foam
Cozy
Stars
Mountain Man.
plus hot tub stream. Yeah, well, I look forward to that
If
stream.
you do not stream that in the hot tub, Cozy Mountain Gaming, I'm coming for you.
Just be careful with the controller.
Yeah, maybe like do some waterproof coating or something like they do on the Z Fold.
Oh, this game looks really nice.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Oh
yes.
Days.
What a
this
project. What a remake, remaster. This is a textbook defining game.
Yeah. Like this
is a rebirth. They put it back in the oven. They cooked it in a new updated oven. Like they changed the engine. They changed. This is a new game. The mechanics are completely different.
It's a different story as well. If anybody played the Final Fantasy VII remake, which took us to the end of, I believe it was disc 1 of the original Final Fantasy VII, the ending of disc 1 changed with the Final Fantasy VII remake. So everything going forward is going to be different as well. So very, very interesting to see where this goes. There's a lot of the same stuff in there, like the Chocobo Racing, like the Kate Sith, and so on and so forth. But very, very interesting to see where this one goes. And I don't know if anybody else noticed this. This is a PlayStation 5 exclusive game. It's coming on 2 discs. It's coming on 2 discs. That's
2
ridiculous.
discs. 2 discs.
What the hell? That's insane.
I don't understand why.
It's that big, that glorious. It's Final Fantasy, man. That's all you need
Why?
to say. The original came on
2
4
discs.
So...
That's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. What do you mean you can't fit it on 1 disc?
I will be fine if you could just take one disc
Ron
out and put the other
Slusher,
disc
we
in.
need to see photos of this aforementioned foam party. Please post in Discord. So my second favorite RPG is Final Fantasy VII Original. So now I'm looking forward to playing the remake, especially after playing Final Fantasy 16. Do they play the same? I feel like they play different.
No, they're very different. 7 is a mix of its original turn-based RPG mixed with real-time combat. It's a very interesting, very unique take on the formula, and it works really, really well.
They invented something new.
Again, they updated, they changed, they reinvented, they rebirthed it. So yeah, it's very interesting. Another February game, though, and it's coming out on Leap Day. It's coming out on February 29th. One of my friends will be turning 6 or 7.
Oh, wow.
He was actually born on the 29th.
Leap Day.
February,
Wow,
so,
we haven't had one of those in 4 years. Funny how that happens every 4 years.
Imagine that. Yeah. So yeah, it's
5
a great
unique
game. Final
suits
Fantasy
for
VII
Peter?
Remake. Yeah, so these are the digital deluxe
there are
suits.
apparently so many suits.
60 odd
Tactical
suits.
Stone Monkey. Oh, that's fun. And they each have their own origin in comics or Spider-Man lore, from my understanding. So that's always fun to see.
None of these are comics accurate ones. These are all made specifically for this game, which I love that they're putting suits.
Oh, really?
In
but
the
what?
Game
Just these 10
game.
suits.
These 10 suits.
Just these 10,
made
because
for this game. Some of what I've seen are
all the other
comic-based.
suits.
So like the big time suit is in there, which is my personal favorite suit because it's a very cool stealth suit. That's the one with the big green spider on it. I actually own that suit as well. So, you know, when it comes time to do a review and such, I'm totally not going to be in spider costumes or anything.
Oh, I'm wearing my Spider-Man shirt for sure when I stream this one.
There's loads of cool costumes. I just love that they're making some original ones and not just relying on the comics and the movies to put those in there. I love that it took them like a year to put Tobey Maguire's suit in the original game. Thought that was fantastic, and I'm glad to see them continue that trend of putting cool suits in there, but having unique ones, suits for PlayStation 5, for the PlayStation version of Peter Parker, who is a canon version because he has appeared alongside Peter Parker from 616 in the comics.
Yeah. But what I was hearing was that the suits in the game that are not part of those 10 suits, they all have an origin to comics and Spider-Man universe, right? Did you?
I would not say all of them. It's going to be very similar to the original game, so there's going to be a lot of comics origin suits in there. And there's going to be a lot of photo opportunities with that because people have connections to specific suits, so different versions of the spider armor, different versions of the big time suits, and so on and so forth. But just like in that first game, there are going to be suits that are story focused, story required, and I think that they are going to be a big part of what you unlock as well. So I wouldn't say all of them, just a good portion.
Okay. I must have misheard that one. Well, let's get into, because I see we are running time. We talked a lot about state of play. Let's jump into some initial thoughts on the Ghost Runner 5 demo available for the PS5 as of the weekend. This is a high octane. The music, first of all, I want to point out, epic music, epic soundtrack.
Yep.
I was vibing the entire time. That synth wave rock type, it gets you pumped, it gets you moving. The fast-paced combat, oh my goodness, just unmatched.
Yeah,
it reminds
so
me
good.
of Doom in terms of the
I can see
speed
that.
you have to perform at.
I can see that
Because
100%.
if you stop, you're dead.
Yes. You can stop if you know the enemy positions, and what I like about the Ghost Runner games is they are trial and error, and because they reload so quickly, and it doesn't matter what platform you're on, whether you're on a hard drive or a solid state drive, they reload incredibly quickly and you're straight back into the action. It might take you 100 tries to beat a combat encounter. I have seen playthroughs where that has happened, and it's been such an amazing moment for that player when they've got through that. Personally, it takes me 5 or 6 tries for most combat encounters. There's a few that trip me up here and there, and it's just distances that I have to figure out and how to get where I need to go and what have you. I played the first game. I got it from PlayStation Plus. I'm not 100% if it's still on PS Plus Extra. It might be. It's a fantastic game, incredibly precise, incredibly difficult. You have got to be on point at every single moment because of the way the combat works, and it's a one-shot kill for everyone. So if you get hit, you're dead. If you hit them, they're dead. It's very unique in the way it works. Whilst you can draw parallels with things like Doom, and you can draw parallels with things like Ghost of Tsushima, and you can draw parallels with things like Mirror's Edge for that first-person view parkour. None of them do all those facets the same as what Ghost Runner does. And the upgrades that it's had for this new gen release, they just add to the experience. It is high-octane, fast-paced, samurai ninja cyborg combat stuff. It's great. I love it. It was really difficult. I loved how difficult it was. It took me about 49 minutes to beat the demo. I'm pretty sure I could probably get that down to about 12 if I practiced. And I know there will be speedrunners trying to get this under the 10-minute mark.
Yeah.
From the first game sort of thing. But that's what I like about the game. You keep going, you try to get better and better and better, and it's all about movement and knowing spawn points and being on your toes. I've had a great time with it, and considering the full game of Ghost Runner 2 is like £34, I'm definitely considering picking that one up in October.
That looks like it's a cheaper release.
Yes,
Is that what you're saying?
far cheaper, yeah. Yeah, it's way cheaper, so I'm very much looking forward to that.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it was fun. The fast reloading made it, oh look, this kind of glitch. So I hit an explosion and then it bounced me up back through the hole. I was like, oh, okay, that was kind
That
of...
one's impressive.
But yeah, it makes you want to try again. The fast reloads definitely say, hey, okay, let me just jump back in, I can do this, and it doesn't set you back far at all. So even there was one point where I was going through the tunnel on the motorcycle and I crashed. It cut me back to half the tunnel, and I was like, oh, thank God I didn't have to go through that first part again. So it's very forgiving on the reloads and the retries. So I did have fun with it. The first person aspect to it is a little tough. I feel like it would be amazing in VR. But
I think it would be very difficult in VR to, like, don't get me wrong, the swinging of the sword and the throwing of the shurikens, because you could just do it with hand movements and that'd be great, but the rest of it in VR, if it's not completely seasickness inducing, I think it's going to be very difficult to control just with how different the buttons are on the sense controllers and such. But something like it, yeah, I could totally get behind that.
it's gonna be over 200 suits in Spider-Man, says Cowboy. And FCAT does not like this game. I'm sorry, your game did not get successful, FCAT. I heard Immortals of Avium did not do well. And
half of the development studio have been let go.
We all mourn that for you, FCAT. And we still need to get into Returnal, man. Let me know when you're free. We gotta set that up, dude.
Yeah, come on. Yeah,
and I heard they are pulling Marvel Avengers from the PS Store, so you better buy it soon. Oh wow.
They've stopped.
Sorry, Square.
For it. If you own it, you can download it as many times as you want, even after they've pulled it from the store. It's just a case of they're not going to be selling it after the end of this month. So if you do want to buy it, I think it's on a massive discount at the moment on a PS Plus sale. I think it's like £5 here in the UK. So pick it up if you want to play that moving forward.
Well, let's take a look at Spider-Man 2 has ray tracing at 60 FPS on PS5, Duragon. You alerted me to this article. Absolutely, the game is going to include higher resolution aspects at your lower 30 and 40, but it'll offer its performance mode, now including ray tracing. So it's going to be, I guess, a ray tracing performance mode, which is something that they experimented with Miles, and we were able to cap out around 40-45 frames per second on the PS5. So obviously they're pushing that technology forward, and I will say 60 FPS, now that I've tried it and experienced it, it is beyond difficult to play anything below 60. It makes you not feel well. The motion sickness is too much. It's like once I had it, I can't go back.
Yeah, 100%. You don't notice it when you haven't got it, but once you've tasted it, going back, it's like with phones now. Like I've been using 120 hertz refresh rate screens on phones for so long. Going to a 60 hertz phone screen, it's painful. It makes my eyes jitter. So yeah, dropping to 30 frames per second for gaming is incredibly difficult. But this is, I don't want to flame the console war, but we have just had the biggest release of the competitor's console in the last 2 weeks. And that is a locked 30 frames per second because they said they can't pull any more out of it. I think that's more an engine limitation than an Xbox Series X limitation, or it might be a Series S limitation over there. But they're stopping at 30 frames per second, and ray tracing is squiffy at best. Where we've got Insomniac Games coming out saying, yeah, you're going to have a map twice as big as the last one, twice as many playable characters. You're going to have so many more suits with all fancy, shiny, ray tracy stuff on it. Fast travel is going to be instantaneous. Oh, and by the way, every single frame rate performance option that you choose has got ray tracing included, which every other developer has said can't be done at 60 frames per second. This is Insomniac throwing down the baton and saying, pick it up. You're not doing good enough, everyone else. This is insane. And I do want to know what sort of resolution it's going to be running at to get.
Yeah. It's insane. It's Insomniac. Obviously they have both not been sleeping and they are insane, programming hard at this. But like you said, I don't believe it's the box itself. I believe it's the software end. Because the boxes have been able to hit 60 FPS since back in Super NES days. So I really feel like it's a limitation on the software and how much we're pushing out in terms of graphical fidelity as well as performance. So they've really hit the tuning fork on this one. I look forward to seeing a lock 60 FPS. Don't go dropping on me when I'm swinging from buildings. So I look forward to it. But that's why they have the lower ones to pump up that graphical.
Yeah.
They'll have the cinematic mode right at 30 FPS, and it'll be like pumped out full graph.
4K,
Yeah.
30 FPS, ray tracing turned on to the max, and so on and so forth. Like, did you see in Ghost Rider actually that there's a 120 frames per second mode? I played it on both 60 and 120, and even though I don't have a 120 hertz TV, it was smoother running at the 120.
Oh, really?
That's another game. Like, that's a £30 game pushing 120 hertz in standard gameplay. I didn't notice a resolution drop in it.
Incredible.
But I'm only looking at it with the native eye. I haven't got any tech looking at it. But like, if it looks good enough, give me more frames every single time. I don't need everything to look hyper photorealistic. I need the frames and the smoothness of gameplay.
Ghost Runner, I believe, is an Unreal game, if I'm Unreal Engine.
I think so, yes. If it's not, it will be shortly because it won't be staying on Unity.
Yeah. What do we got going on here? Unreal Engine 4. Yeah, so and that's what I'm seeing is the games that are using the Unreal Engine, such as Ghost Runner, they're able to pump up like that software, whatever they're using, is able to hit the 60 and the 120 consistently. We see that in the first Descendant releasing. We see that in Fortnite, which is on Unreal Engine. Doom, a lot of these games. And I think people just need to evolve where they're designing their games. There needs to be a new standard. Because as we saw from... Yeah. More games need to be rejected, like X Defiant, right? Being stopped at the gate from being released.
It's such a minor thing. Like, getting certification on the PlayStation Network is you go through it like 7, 8, 9. It's just Joe will tell you how many times you can get rejected by a certain platform store just for simple minor things, and it can be as simple as a typo in your description that you get rejected for. The fact that X Defiant from a massive publisher like Ubisoft got rejected for such a minute thing is, to me, it's just hilarious. And a company of their size and supposed caliber shouldn't have those sort of issues. You do expect it with your AA's and your indies and that sort of stuff, but just made me laugh. I found that one absolutely hilarious, that Ubisoft made a teeny tiny mistake that delayed the release of X Defiant because of a typo or something stupid like that.
Oh, that's interesting. So, Ron Slusher, you prefer to crank up the higher resolution, so you'll be playing in a cinematic mode. And when you're playing first person, single players, not first person, but just single player games. And are you excited for First Descendant? Oh, that comes out tomorrow. They're opening up the beta tomorrow. I'll have to download it and check it out. It sounds interesting.
judging from
Don't
the
do that
last
head shake.
gameplay. Hey, I'm judging from the last gameplay we got with it, and that was also classed as a beta. It was the closed beta, and it was generic. It was okay. It was functional. I'm hoping with the open beta they're showing us a bit more of it and giving us a bit more power, opening it up to people to play a little bit, because it just felt meh when it was played earlier in the year. So hopefully there's a bit more to it.
Windstar and FCat are right. We should be bringing up the sort of base standard for games now to at least 40 FPS. You are not wrong.
Yes, yeah.
You are not wrong. We should definitely be doing that. And like I'm saying, or we're both kind of saying here, is it's not the box that's limiting. It's the software these guys are building the games on. They need a bit of a boost, technical boost. But let's get into what's happening here in TCMF Games. They had something that you shared with me, which obviously perked my ears up. That is a possible release window for Insomniac's new Marvel adventure. And that is Wolverine. Interesting here, it seems that both Wolverine and Spider-Man 2 will feature a new, very cool dialogue technology. I wish I had more than the words very cool. Like, what does that mean, dialogue technology?
I don't fully know what that means, but again, Spider-Man 2 had a lot of hands-on impressions released at the tail end of last week. So sort of Thursday, Friday, a lot of people were putting out impressions of playing Spider-Man 2 for 3 hours. One of those people was SkillUp, and SkillUp is one of those people that I tend to trust with their thought processes. We tend to align quite similarly, unless you're talking about The Last of Us Part 2, in which case he's a moron. But he was saying, like, the facial animations, there is something so very different with them. It's almost uncanny valley because they're real. Like, it's the facial animations that you and I are making when we are talking, and that is what they're seeing in game. I don't know whether that's what this leaker is talking about, or industry insider, whatever he wants to be called. So the facial animations look absolutely phenomenal, and whether it's a case of it's technology that takes the words, the dialogue that's being said, and adjusts those facial animations so it's localized correctly, that would be an amazing bit of tech. And I know Sucker Punch did very similar with Ghost of Tsushima, so they could have easily spoken to in-house teams. Whatever it is, it's going to be very interesting, and I hope it is a good thing for localization and people all over the world, whatever this dialogue tech is.
All I gotta say is, man, I gotta work out more. Look at that. Come on, I gotta get freaking Wolverine
That is a
jacked.
computer-generated image. It's not a real person.
I mean, how much food is this guy eating? Oh my gosh.
A ridiculous amount, yes.
Absolutely. I actually played a little bit of Wolverine over the past couple days on the Sega Genesis. My wife took me to a little arcade bar and just had fun messing around. I'm like getting so hyped up for the Wolverine.
I want it to be as visceral as the PlayStation 3 Wolverine. That game was a fantastic story, incredibly visceral. It gave you the Wolverine fantasy, but it didn't like, he is incredibly overpowered in the comics with that healing factor, but it didn't overpower him to the point that the game was just too easy, because if your core was exposed and your heart destroyed, sort of thing, oh, you're dead. It gave it a believable weakness to the Wolverine, and I would love to see similar in the Insomniac one, but I want that visceral, combative brutality that we saw in the previous PS3 title. That was just fantastic.
Here's a question, and you have to promise you won't disappoint me here. Is this Wolverine on PS3 available on PS Plus?
As far as I am aware, no.
Don't disappoint me. Don't disappoint. No! Oh, what do you mean? Why not? I mean, Ron Slusher's pumping it up. You're pumping it up. I'm like, oh, wow, I got to try this. What do you mean it's on PS3? They got to have it on their backlog. No, they don't include it. Cowboy says no. What do you mean? Oh, that's infuriating. That's infuriating. What do you guys own it? Put it there.
I have the physical copy of it, so you know.
Oh,
If
the
it's any
physical
consolation,
copies.
I've just jumped on eBay. You can pick up a PlayStation 3 for about £40. So that's what, 60 Canadian or something like that? Like, just go buy PS3 and Wolverine. Trust me, it's worth it. Let's just see how much Wolverine PS3 is.
I could just put a PS3 disc in my PS5, right? That's how they work.
Wolverine PS3 20. That's half the price of the damn console. So yeah, you're spending about £60, so 90 Canadian dollars or something to get a PlayStation 3 and Wolverine. And anything else that isn't on Plus, you can just buy a copy of the game, a physical copy, and then it's always playable. Just saying.
Oh. That's a little frustrating because I was about to jump right back into that. Oh, I would have loved to get on that train.
I'm honestly considering breaking out my PS3 and playing through that again. It was so good. It's also 360.
Well,
it's that era of console. It might be a PC release, so you might be able to get it on your laptop. And with your laptop, it would be runnable. There's always the slightly less legal manners as well, which we do not talk about or partake in, of course. Yep.
Just download it on PC. I bet you can get it from there. Yeah, Cowboy, you're probably right. And you say it's on the Xbox 360. I wonder if it's on their backlog. I have all my PlayStation PS1 to PS5. Ray, you're a collector. I'd love that backlog.
PlayStation consoles. Yeah.
Oh, you guys.
The only console I don't still have is my original Xbox, and that's because I sold that to fund my travels around Australia. And now I wish I hadn't, but also
well, that's fine to sell
out on that experience around us. So yeah, that's the only console of mine I don't still have. The 360 doesn't work; it's busted.
You gotta live life.
I tried fixing it, but hey, it's there. It's a nice paperweight now.
Well, let's, I know we're running out of time here, so let's cover a couple other things that we can. Just so we say it out clear, the game is reportedly internally targeting a 2024 release date. So what does that mean? My best guess?
2025.
Yeah, I'm guessing we see it same release window as Spider-Man, but in 2025.
I would say if they're not hit by the SAG-AFTRA strikes, which are currently being discussed, and Insomniac are one of the bad guys in those strikes, if they are not hit by them, if they're not hit by the SAG-AFTRA strikes, they sort their stuff out and pay their people appropriately, or something else happens, or the strikes get shut down at the union level, whatever the case may be, I would say yes, we're probably seeing that this time next year, especially with work that's already gone into it. If they are hit by SAG-AFTRA strikes, I would say it's a 2025 to 2026 release.
Wow, 26. Don't tell me that. That's going to be like on the tail end of the freaking console life.
It doesn't matter. It's still going to be awesome.
Yeah. Well, here's something you got excited for. We can cover quickly. People may have seen the Tomb Raider 1 to 3 remastered on the Nintendo Switch announcement. They may not have known that it's also launching on the PlayStation Store. So you can pick it up both on PS4 and PS5, February 14th, Valentine's Day, which is...
my birthday. I am happy
with
this birthday present. Give
exactly.
It to me. Yeah.
Right, because you have, and then your partner has the same birthday as me, which is the next day.
Yeah, she's the 15th, and she has completed every single Tomb Raider on the planet. I love these remasters. I love that they aren't completely remaking them. I love that they're not bringing them up to modern technology or looks. I love that they still look like the old games, like the originals that you remember, but they look like you remember, if that makes sense. So there's a lot less jaggediness to Lara
Right.
and the world. It's a lot smoother. The character model is greatly improved. Animations are greatly improved and all that sort of stuff, but it still looks like the game that I remember. I love that. I think that's a fantastic creative design choice, and the fact we're getting all three from the original trilogy, spot on.
Look forward to it. Pretty cool to see. And even though it is just a repackaging of some old games, a lot of people haven't played this, and people like to relive and get the achievements on their new console. So I get it. There's obviously a market for this. So go out there and play some Lara Croft. I remember playing this back on a computer back on the day, and just being like overwhelmed and being like, I'm way too young to play this type of video game.
I remember Tomb Raider 2 and people crowing about it being on a VGA monitor and the water looking so real. And I was just stuck in there with a tiger for like 3 hours trying to figure a way out. And I needed a friend from school to show me how to get out of there. Then I rinsed the whole game. But I remember it's one of my first sort of AAA gaming memories where I could not figure out how to get out of that first area in Tomb Raider 2. And then finally getting through it and just mincing the rest of the game felt fantastic.
Well, look forward to that next year, but it'll be tough because Helldivers will come out just before then. So
February is stacked with releases again. Like developers,
Yeah.
video game developers, listen to me here. In 2022, you released every
oh,
single
look at
good
that!
game.
You got another a birthday around us. My sister's birthday is the day before Valentine's Day.
We've got
February
on
birthdays.
lock. But yeah, developers,
Oh,
when 2022 was too stacked with video games in February and we had nothing for the rest of the year, we asked that you never do that again. Look what's happening in 2024. Stop it.
Yeah.
Behave.
It's getting too full. Everything that was supposed to release now is just getting pushed to February for some reason.
February 2024,
All right.
you're going to be broke.
We got, 2 to 3 stories cover on quickly here, letting everybody know what's going on in the PlayStation gaming catalog for September. If you're PlayStation Plus, Nier Replicant. I've heard of this.
Good game.
Right? It's like a Souls.
It's nothing like this was Souls before Souls was Souls.
Nothing. Okay.
The original
This is
Nier
pre-Souls.
came out on, the original Nier came out on PlayStation 3, and it was a great game, fantastic story. And you know how you have like quotes that live rent-free in your head? The opening to this game is one of the main characters just yelling at a book. And the book sentient, it can talk and what have you. And she's just yelling at it like, "Voice,
As they do.
idiot!" And it's like, that is just the greatest opening to a game I've ever come across. It's up there with like the Prince of Persia: Sands of Time, with most people think that time flows like a river. But no, like Nier Replicant is a perfecting of the original Nier. It is putting it on a game engine that isn't clunky as all hell. It runs incredibly smoothly. It runs very similarly to Nier Automata. It's such a good game, such a good playthrough, such a good story. If you have never played it, if you have played it, download and play Nier Replicant. It's a fantastic RPG. You will have an exceptional time. No matter what sort of gamer you are, there is something in that game for everybody, even if it's just the very dark comedy of the character interactions.
It has everything except a pair of pants for this lady right here.
Welcome to Nier.
She
no one wears trousers.
Decided she'd leave the house with just the shirt on. She didn't need the pants. I'm fine without the pants.
There is actually a narrative reason for that one, and it's almost what you've said. That leaving in a rush because the world's ending, sort of thing. Like it's not the greatest narrative reason, but it's there.
And then the bald puppet dude, that's got to be quite the character. He's a little freaky companion to have along with you.
Oh, but like that. Just play it. Like, come back to me once you've played it. You'll understand.
I will.
It's fantastic.
It looks
fantastic.
cool.
Everybody, go play it. Come back to me once you've played it. Like, let me know your thoughts on it. I love Nier. I love the entire series. Absolutely fantastic.
Another awesome one, Civilization. It's a huge following, massive create your own world strategy. What do they call this? Real-time strategy games, right? Turn-based strategy games. So
RTS. So you're making your empire at the same time as somebody else is making their empire. It's the same sort of game as Command and Conquer, Red Alert, that most people my age will remember from back on the early days of PC gaming for us. Civilization has always been a great game. It's been hilariously brutal. I believe it started out as a board game. I did see a board game version of it the other day in one of the local bookshops. Was so tempted to buy it. But you are trying to create an empire and take over the world, whilst 4 or 5 other people are also trying to create an empire and take over the world. And you can pick your leader. It can be people like Julius Caesar. It can be people like Isaac Newton, and so on and so forth. It's so that you end up hating people playing it. So if you hate members of your family, play it with them. Like, it's the same as Monopoly. Like, people are going to lose relationships over it, sort of thing. But I love the Civ games. Civ 6 is great. Get on it, folks.
there we have it. Very nice. Star Ocean, The Divine Force. I heard that's an incredibly massive RPG. Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts.
500 hours for Star Ocean. Go for
it. That's what I hear about Star Ocean. Unpacking, cute little Zen game.
Oh, Unpacking.
Like, this is the game you were talking about, right? Where you just open things.
You just open things, you put them away, put them in place. This is...
Yeah.
Anybody who is neurodivergent in any form of way, if we're talking ADHD, ADD, if we're talking depression, anxiety, if we're talking dyslexia or what have you, there is something about unpacking that calms a neurodivergent brain, that brings everybody into a point of zen. And I can't praise it highly enough. It's just, if you want to relax, if you want to feel good about life, just play Unpacking. It's a lot less violent.
Is this the game here? Is this?
This is the game. Is this Unpacking? Just taking stuff out and putting it away. That is all you have to do. It is brilliant. Simple concept, executed perfectly.
Who sleeps with their Switch under their pillow? Oh my goodness. You're just organizing. Oh my god, my wife would not find this game fun. And if she did find this game fun, I would be upset.
I would be upset. Find this game fun.
Because our house deserves to be cleaner if she finds this game fun.
Savage. Right, so next week I'll be hosting this podcast alone, folks, after those comments from Rudy.
Quickly brazing over these. Planet Coaster. So it's a roller coaster tycoon. The War of Mine Final Cut.
That is, if you don't want an emotional story, don't play that. It is brutal.
Yeah, I can see it right now. I mean, he's holding this woman right here, so the emotions are welcome to hell. Exactly. Cloudpunk, which sounds like Cyberpunk but different. It even says it's in a cyberpunk-esque world.
Yep.
And then we have Contra. Big shout out. Everybody knows the IP Contra.
Yeah.
The PS4 version, which if I remember, was their sort of reinvention of Contra in the open, like, 3D, taking away from the side-scrolling experience.
Yeah, I'm remembering the same. I'm not 100%, but we can all go and try it now. As long as
and then there's
premium.
Tails Noir. Oh, Reaver the Beaver. If you're here, there you are. There's a beaver right there. We got a raccoon, a fox, and
That's not a beaver.
that's a look at that
Shark,
tail.
man.
That's a look at the face now. That's 100% a beaver.
Oh, the guy in the back, the really small
Yeah,
guy.
in the back. Yeah. Yeah.
I was looking at like the sharky weird dude in the
Yeah,
middle
the
with
sharky weird
black
dude.
outfit.
I don't know what that's going on.
I've
Call
got
of
no
the
idea
Sea.
either. I've been
A
watching
lot
so
of
much One Piece.
games they are dropping. Oh my, that's the thing. When they drop games, like on PS Plus, it's a catalog, man. You're getting like 15 titles
You
here,
get a lot.
and
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, we cycle them in and out
Yeah.
fairly regularly, so it stays around that sort of 800 mark if you're on premium and get all of the classics as well. But there's always something there. There's always something that people want to play. You've either got your one big one or two big ones, or you've got loads of little ones that people want to dip in and out of and try and maybe find something that's a huge amount of fun. I do like the sort of setup we've got, but I do wonder if the way they're doing it, like these 15 games per month, if that's why we're seeing such a massive price increase of Plus. And I would personally rather see fewer higher quality options but that lesser price than the same amount that we're getting for a much greater price.
yeah, it's a lot. I mean, nobody has time to play all these games. Come on.
Exactly, yeah. Especially when you've got like 2 500-hour RPGs in there.
Yeah. Plus the original version as well. They're adding to the PS Classics. Star Ocean Original. Let's touch on the PS5 updates before we head out. Yes, if you did not know, you can get rid of the beep. That's the first thing I did.
I haven't got rid of it. I haven't got rid of it. I
Oh,
liked it.
You
I
broke
keep
the
swapping
beep?
my controllers. I keep swapping
That's
my
called
controllers
Stockholm
between things.
Syndrome.
So I have lowered the beep, so it's not deafening. It doesn't cause my cat to latch onto the ceiling or something. It's just a very quiet one that lets me know, oh yeah, that controller is connected and I don't need to do something else to turn the console on and repair.
I got rid of the beep ASAP. I was like, no longer will this beep haunt my life. Every time I turn it on, beep. Like, no, I do not need, nobody needs that in their life. I just muted that thing right down. You went over some other things that were updated on this update. I think they're preparing for the Leonardo controller as well. They're supporting larger storage drives, which is frustrating
larger
because
and
I have a
larger.
smaller. I got a smaller one, but it's okay. I don't think I'll ever run out
I've
of
got a
that space right now.
terabyte, and I'm running out of space.
You're
on the
only
regular.
managing with a terabyte?
I've got a terabyte extra, so I've got the internal
Oh,
terabyte,
okay.
and then I've got an
You got two
additional
Ts.
terabyte. But I
Yeah.
do want to update it to a much bigger one, but I need to wait until there's a really good sale and I can pick up 4 or more terabytes for a decent price. But yeah, there's been a lot in this update. One of the surprise updates was remote play support on Android TVs and Chromecast with Google TV.
Yes.
That was not in the beta that I was part of. That wasn't part of that beta. And they've just stealth dropped that in the full release that, yeah, you can now remote play to your Chromecast with Google TV or your Android television. So I'm looking to try that out in the next couple of weeks, put some thoughts out for people, and of course, bring those thoughts to this podcast as well. If anybody has already, hit us up in the comments and such. Let us know what your experiences are. But it's nice to see a widening of the net of things like remote play. I would love to see that with the cloud gaming on premium as well. Make my subscription worth it, sort of thing. But yeah, nice to see advancements.
I am still looking for my PS Remote Play app on my Chromecast with Google TV. I have yet to receive it. Maybe they are just doing a limited release in US and UK. What is that about? I did not like seeing that. Canada should be first. We are on top. We are the highest country on the globe, all right?
Point of contention. isn't Alaska above you, which is part of the US?
Oh, I think the Northwest Territories kind of spread out a bit higher than that.
Also, isn't there the Arctic and Greenland?
The Arctic,
and a
okay,
few
the
other more
Greenland.
northerns?
Nobody lives there. All right, Canada's first
Lots
tier.
of people live in Greenland. Santa lives in Greenland.
What? I thought Santa lived
How
in the
dare
North
you.
Pole.
Nothing lives at the
But
North
yes.
Pole other than a pole.
It's called PS Play. Yeah, Dorgon was telling me about this PS Play app,
Yeah,
FCAT.
so there's a couple of
But I want the
third-party
PS Remote
apps.
Play. I want the official.
Right. Rudigs, calm a sec. Listen to me, my man. And everybody else, listen. PS Play is the better app for multiple reasons. One, HDR content. It allows you to stream HDR visuals from your PlayStation 5 to whatever you're streaming to. Two, it allows full DualSense compatibility, which the official app doesn't do. So those resistive triggers and the haptic feedback that you so love in your next-gen games with the DualSense controller, PS Play allows that. It allows 1080p streaming at 60 frames per second at any bit rate that you choose. I have mine set to 16,000, and it is a flawless, better gaming experience than I get on the official app. There's also another one out there of open source remote play called Chiaki, and this works on a multitude of devices. So this will work on your PC, this will work on your Steam Deck, this will work on your ROG Ally, your Logitech G Cloud, your phone, your tablet. It will also work on things like the PlayStation Vita and the Nintendo Switch. Chiaki will. Honestly, some of these third-party remote play apps far better than the official one, and that PS Play app even works inside of the Quest headset. So you can play PlayStation Remote Play on a TV in VR, which is the weirdest thing I thought I would say today. So yeah, use them. You can use additional controllers as well. So things like the original backbone, you don't need the PlayStation edition. You can use an Xbox controller. I've used Joy-Cons to play PlayStation 5 games. Like the PS Play app, brilliant. Gives you so much beyond the official one.
I don't want. No. Why is the third party doing better than the official? The official needs to bring out support. Cowboy, what you're saying makes me want to. Now I'm just going to go download PS Play. I just think, you need to step it up on the official.
I
they
can
also
remote play to my
updated.
PlayStation 3, 4, and 5 from a PlayStation Vita. That is what third-party remote play apps allow you to do.
You can use an Xbox controller for sure, FCAT, until the game says press that middle pad thing.
That is an issue. That is an issue on Xbox controllers.
Yeah, there's no options for that on Xbox controllers.
Yeah, if you're doing it on something that doesn't have a touch screen, maybe don't use one of those controllers. Use an official PlayStation one. But yeah, if you're doing it with something with a touchscreen, the touchscreen is the touchpad, so you can use whatever you want.
Rudix, that controller I showed you can play it on via PS Play because the PlayStation app only lets you use a PlayStation controller. Yes, the PlayStation app only. So you can play on the third-party app with different controllers. However, just the PlayStation exclusive games, you may run into stops where they ask you to press that middle button. Some new features rolling out. You can voice chat to your controller if you're in the US and the UK. That's pretty neat. Apparently you can have an assisted controller so somebody can kind of backseat drive, is what I'm reading here.
This is a phenomenal accessibility thing. I did try it with my partner, put her in a very difficult game and picked up the second controller to help her out because she will get it eventually. She's one of those people who is terrible at a game to start with and then becomes phenomenal at it and absolutely destroys you, which annoys me to all hell. But when she first starts out, she struggles to get into the mindset and flow, and she just gets controls mixed up between different games, as many of us do. And so I was helping her with the parry window, and as an accessibility thing, if you've got someone who can basically play, but say they've got motor issues in their fingers, say they've got arthritis or something, and they can't quite hit the R2 hard enough, you could do that for them. And It allows them to still play the game, but they've got that little bit of help from someone else that means they can play it when they wouldn't be able to otherwise. And accessibility features like this are phenomenal. Keep bringing them, Sony. Keep bringing them, Microsoft. Keep bringing them, Nintendo. Anybody who is making a game or a platform, give us accessibility options, because the more people that can play, the better it is for everybody.
Well, that's cool. It's kind of how like two people can play together on a single player game almost. So
Pretty much, yeah.
that's neat.
Yeah. It's a very cool feature.
Nice to see. Very inventive. They're updating their socials, trying to make everybody hang out in the social party, stream games, chat. Very cool. I've used the screen share.
Yeah. You've used screen share with me on Returnal. Yes, that worked
Returnal,
really well.
yeah. I've used it on Destiny. I've used it on Sekiro to show somebody and help me coach through it. So that whole thing we had on Stadia where everyone was like, we need Stream Connect. I mean, PlayStation was kind of already doing that when I came and looked over here.
PlayStation 4,
with any game.
2013.
With any game. It doesn't even need to be the same game.
These social changes as well, one thing people need to be aware of, your profile now shows your most played game. So if your most played game is something you don't want people to see you've played most of, get some time in on other games to replace that on your profile.
What do you mean profile?
The profile on the PlayStation itself. So when people add you as a friend or check out your trophies and such on the PlayStation console, they will see your profile. So they'll see your profile picture, your banner, the trophies that you've earned, your trophy level, what your PlayStation Stars rating is, but it also now shows your most played game on PlayStation 5, which for some people on my friends list is utterly hilarious. There's a lot of people with Doki Doki Literature Club at the top of their most played list.
Wibble.
Not Wibble, no. I think his was something like...
Yeah, mine would probably be Diablo.
Mine is Destiny 2, 600
because
plus
it took
hours.
so long. Yeah. I mean, if Destiny 2 carried over from Stadia, then that would be a different story, but...
Yeah, if it had all of my platforms on it, we're over 3,000, but yeah, just on PlayStation 5 it's 600 odd.
Well, that is all we have for the show today. Is there anything else that was burning out that you wanted to cover? I know I skipped a lot of things just because, you know, this was a busy week.
Indeed, it was. We should probably answer FCAT first. He wants a list of PlayStation games that require you to blow into the controller. As far as I'm aware, it's this new quantum something or other where you're a firefighter and it requires you to blow into the controller to do CPR.
No.
And Astro's Playroom.
Really?
They are the two that I am aware of that require you to blow into the controller.
You gotta give your controller blowjobs to play this game.
Apparently so. Apparently so, yeah. It's an interesting concept. I'm interested at what price it'll come in, but yeah. Outside of that, PlayStation, can you like spread the news out a bit? We keep going through this where we're struggling to put a show together one week and then we're struggling to condense it the next. Like, spread it out for your show, people. Like the guys who do the work for you, who put these shows out there, spread it out for us, please.
I know. I mean, there's this mannequin game coming to PSVR 2 I wanted to go over, but I mean, I can't just keep going over these things. We're already at an hour and a half. But Dorgon, what do you got going on this week? Anything exciting? Some videos coming out you're working on? What's happening?
I have got 2 videos uploaded. One is a no commentary run through of the Ghost Runner demo. That'll be out sometime later in the week. It's not pressing, but I do have another video that's gone up that should be out ideally tomorrow. As soon as I get a thumbnail sorted for it, it is a PlayStation Portal type video. So if you are looking at buying the Portal come November time, make sure you subscribe to my channel so that you can see when that one comes out, and an actual review of the Portal when I do get hold of that in November.
Awesome. And If you want to find me, I'm RUDIGGZ, YouTube and Twitter. Awesome thumbnail I made, put my face on the Ghost Runner. But yeah, I'll be playing tonight. I'll probably get in around 10 o'clock. More Forspoken will probably be on the menu for tonight. Having fun playing some games. Otherwise, we will see you next week, same time. And until next time, be kind and bring peace into the world.
Take care, everyone.
Try to believe in me. Why try do I even need to? I die with the season leaves. I glide with the season breeze. True, my mind so easily spooked. I ride just to be the me who finds hype super decently smooth. Nice type, but as sick as me.